Alright, so I've been coming across a lot of comments from people saying that I should be using something like Resonator on various warframes like Banshee and Mag in order to make them invulnerable. Here's the thing. Here I am in the simulacrum with Titania. Now, the thing about Resonator is that it's actually really powerful to the point where I would even just say it's just straight up universal practical invulnerability. In the sense that if I were to summon these guys right now and just throw out the Resonator, that's it. I am now practically invulnerable, and with the use of something like Conductor, I can also control where the Resonator is, and I can just literally sit here and do practically nothing at all. Enemies are not really going to run outside of the range of the Resonator. They're just going to stand there, they're going to run around, they're not going to attack me, and the only time I'm going to die is when the Resonator's duration actually decreases. Now, for a warframe like Titania, this is actually even better than usual in the sense that I can also use Spellbind and, more importantly, Spellbound Harvest to get a bunch of energy back, which means I can actually throw out a new Resonator, just like that. So, the moment I only get hit is when the moment the Resonator actually completely removes itself. This is actually the same with pretty much every single warframe, and to that extent, I don't feel like doing any quote-unquote Resonator-based builds. I do have a Resonator-based build, I guess, for Titania, but I don't think it's anything particularly important. The main thing about using Resonator is, outside of the stock standard usual suspects like nullifiers and all of that stuff, you're going to come across basically no real competition against yourself. It is basically easy mode in the sense that you're never going to die. Once you're able to basically time your Resonator really well, you're good to go. And this is the same whether you're using a super duper squishy warframe like Titania, whether you're using a super duper squishy warframe like Banshee. Hell, you could also potentially throw this on Ninaros, although why you would throw this on Ninaros, that makes no sense to me at least. But it's going to be the same experience. You throw out that Resonator, you're pretty much good to go. The big question I think that you need to ask yourself if you want to use something like Resonator isn't necessarily whether or not you want to use something like Resonator, but more, do you want to use Conductor? The pros and cons between using Conductor and not using Conductor are that I think using Conductor makes it a lot more efficient, and you can also drag enemies around by specifically controlling where your Resonator is, so that could be really good. The cons, and by extension the pros of not using Conductor, is that you can't just throw out a new Resonator while your Resonator is still active, which means there will at least be a split moment where you basically don't have a Resonator. That is just by design. You're going to have a split moment where you don't have a Resonator. Activated. To that end, if you want to actually keep yourself fully, to some extent, invulnerable, then don't use Conductor. At that point, you now have to follow your Resonator as opposed to your Resonator following you if you were to use Conductor. But that's pretty much it. Those are my thoughts, at least, on the idea of using Resonator on XYZ Warframe in order to quote-unquote keep them invulnerable. It's speaking less to the Warframe and more to just the power of Resonator. Resonator just seemingly really strong AoE crowd control that not only is persistent, it moves around, it drags enemies along with it, and the fact of the matter is that you can actually control it with good old-fashioned Conductor. It's kinda overpowered, but since nobody seems to be using it in favor of things like Roar, Eclipse, Spellbound Harvest, I don't know, insert some other helmet ability that people are using a lot more than Resonator, I don't think it's going to get nerfed, and frankly it probably shouldn't because it's fine otherwise. It's really just keeping you alive. So if your Warframe is lacking in damage, well, tough. You got no damage out of Resonator. You might have a couple of ticks here and there, but it's not going to do a whole lot. The big thing as well is because this is just a straight up radial hard stun, it also just scales infinitely, so it's great for any super duper long mission as well if you want to survive in that just through the use of a really powerful crowd control. It's great for short missions, it's great for big missions, small missions. Fact of the matter is, Resonator is just going to scale infinitely, and it's going to be absolutely amazing in pretty much every single situation possible. So, to that end, I think Resonator is fine, and it's definitely a good idea to use if you're struggling with surviving, but as a thing specifically that synergizes with XYZ Warframe, outside of maybe Titania with Spellbound Harvest, I'm not really seeing much of a connection on that. Maybe Gara, if you can somehow make this work with something like Spectra Siphon, but I don't know. You could make the argument for something like Protea with her Blaze Artillery to group enemies together, but I feel like Resonator's grouping capabilities are not as strong as something like Ensnare or even Lava, but I think Lava is a little bit That's my personal opinion, but I haven't actually used it. Point is, Resonator is still a great, super duper strong, powerful ability that will basically keep every single Warframe alive, provided they are using Conductor to keep it following them, or they are following them without using Conductor. That's pretty much it. So, rant over. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. What Warframes do you use Conductor on and Resonator on? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Warframe content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!